Howdy, y'all, and welcome to today's special Independence Day forecast before we get into whether or not your barbecue plans will get ruined or not. We'll have to take a look at what kind of severe weather we'll be dealing with for the next few days, as well as what is now Hurricane Beryl, which is still a Category 5 hurricane. Turned into a Category 5 yesterday with max winds of 167 mile an hour with a low pressure of 934 millibars. It's expected to weaken down into a tropical storm by the 6th and make landfall by the 7th. Now, some models have been indicating that this is going to make a right-hand turn into America, but again, we'll have to take a look at that here in a little bit. But right now, we're going to get into what kind of severe weather we could be dealing with for the next few days. As y'all can see, we're getting an enhanced risk issued over here by Kansas, Iowa, and Missouri with a slight risk which extends all the way down into Colorado. Now, all hazards are possible today, with a pretty significant threat for tornadoes, as a 5% chance has been issued within the enhanced risk zone, and a low end threat has been issued within that slight risk zone, which extends all the way down into Colorado. Now, keep in mind, significant tornadoes can happen on low end days, so make sure you keep those alerts turned on. I know they are annoying, but make sure you keep those on, and you know where to go when that tornado warning gets issued for your location, and don't be scared, but be prepared. Now, other than tornadoes, we have a big old damaging wind threat to worry about, as a 30% chance has been issued within the enhanced risk zone, as well as a 15% down into Colorado. Now, keep in mind, power outages could be likely today, and make sure you put up anything you don't want blowing around as well. Other than tornadoes and high winds, we got some large hail to deal with, so make sure you put up anything you don't want damage from large hail if you live within any of these colored zones today. As we move off into hump day, we got a couple slight risk zones, one down here by Missouri up into Ohio, and one over here by Colorado up into South Dakota. Now, as far as the threats go, we just have a tornado threat over here by Nebraska, and within both slight risk zones, we have a big old high wind threat, and over here by Nebraska, we have a large hail threat. So basically, within both slight risk zones, we have a high wind threat, and over here by Nebraska, we have a tornado and a damaging hail threat. So move off into Thursday. This is Independence Day. Looks like Mother Nature is going to be giving us some fireworks. Looks like there is a slight risk over here by Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. So make sure you go follow my X and Facebook pages, as I will be providing updates on there as I do daily weather updates. But we will still be getting in on the timing of when y'all could be getting in on the worst severe weather on Independence Day. As we move off into the day 4 to 8 outlook, it's not really much to worry about, which is actually some good news. Other than severe weather, we got some flooding to deal with, as a slight risk has been issued for the next couple days, and a marginal risk has been issued on Independence Day. If you live within the slight risk for heavy rainfall zones, I would expect right around 2 to 4 inches, and if you live within the marginal risk zones, I would expect right around 1 to 2, with locally higher amounts possible. So make sure if you see a flooded roadway, turn around, don't drown. If you live in a low-lying area, please be aware of this. So now that we know the threats for severe weather, and we know that there's going to be some flooding going on for the next few days, let's go ahead and get into the timing of when y'all could expect the worst from the severe weather. And to take a look at this, we're going to take a look at the HRRR model. And keep in mind that date and time's up here if you ever want to keep track. And keep in mind that tornadoes, high winds, and some large hail is going to be the main threats today. As we push this forward, we can see that there's already some general thunderstorms forming out here by Iowa and Nebraska as we head into the early afternoon hours, but then severe is going to start to ramp up as we head into the late evening into the overnight hours, where some high winds and some large hail is going to be the main hazards, with a few strong tornadoes possible. As we pull up the significant tornadic parameters, we can see that there is a 1.6 out of 10 over here by Missouri by right around 8 o'clock Central Time. As y'all can see, there is some supercells within that 1.6 out of 10 zone. So again, please be hyper weather aware tonight, as tornadoes are looking likely. Now, other than tornadoes, we will have some strong winds going on, as right around 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts could be possible. Some areas getting in on higher wind gusts, some areas getting on right around 20 mile an hour wind gusts. Regardless, could cause some power outages. And if you have anything you don't want blowing around out there, make sure you put that up as well. Basically, it's looking like the worst of the severe weather today is going to be occurring during the late evening into the overnight hours, before turning into mainly a big old flooding threat as we head into the midnight hour. So now that we know the timing for Tuesday, let's go ahead and get into hump day's timing. We're going to take a look at the 12Z run for this. Keep in mind that high winds is going to be the primary threat within both slight risk zones, and the tornado and large hail threat is going to be the primary threat over by Nebraska. Now, as they push us forward to hump day, we can see that not much is going to be going on through the early morning hours up until right around 4 or 5 o'clock. Keep in mind that it's looking like right around 4 o'clock Central Time is when some nasty storms are going to be rolling through, bringing some supercells, could cause some large hail, as that's going to be the primary threat over here by Nebraska, as well as a few tornadoes. As we get into the significant tornadic parameters, we can see that we're right around 6, 7 o'clock. It's right around 5, 6 Central Time. We can see that there's going to be almost a 1.6 out of 10 down here in southwestern Nebraska, 2.2 in some areas. Right around 6 o'clock Central Time. This is an Eastern Time up here. As we pull up the composite reflectivity, we can see that there is going to be some storms within that area. So a few tornadoes could be possible tomorrow evening. So please be aware of this. If I didn't go over what the significant tornadic parameters are and you're new here, significant tornadic parameters basically breaks down whether or not the ingredients are favorable for tornadic activity. I don't mean a tornado is going to happen within that zone. It just means that the ingredients are favorable for tornadoes occurring within that area. And it's looking like once we get past 7 o'clock, it's going to mainly turn into a big old windbag event over here by Kansas, and mainly turn into a big old flash flooding threat, as there is a slight risk for that on hump day. Now, of course, we got to take a look at what kind of wind gusts y'all could be coming in on, as that is the primary threat within both zones. We can see that we could be coming in on right around 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts by Nebraska by right around 10 o'clock Central Time. Please be aware of this, as power outages could be likely during the nighttime hours. And again, please make sure you put up anything you don't want damage from large hail as well. That's another primary threat over here by Nebraska on hump day. I would not be surprised if they up the risk to an enhanced risk zone, but regardless of whatever risk you are under, please make sure you're hyperweather aware for the next couple of days. This is looking like could be a late evening into overnight event with a few tornadoes possible and some really strong winds which could knock out the power. And please make sure that you put up anything you don't want damaged from some large hail as well. So now that we know the timing for the next few days, let's go ahead and get into the timing for Independence Day, as it's looking like Mother Nature is going to be giving us some fireworks in the sky. And to take a look at this, we'll have to take a look at the lightning flash density rate, which will show us where the most intense storms could fire up at. Keep in mind that the slight risk is over here by Arkansas. And it's looking like the timing could be during the early afternoon hours. Some areas could be getting in on the late evening. So basically, early afternoon into late evening hours is when I would expect there to be some strong storms occurring. Keep in mind, we don't know what the main hazards are just yet, but make sure you follow my X and Facebook pages, as I will be keeping y'all updated on there when the Storm Protection Center issues those hazards. So now that we know the timing and what kind of hazard y'all could expect for the next few days, let's go ahead and get into the Independence Day forecast, since that's what y'all really came here for. And then we'll get into Hurricane Beryl. Now, as we push this forward, we already know we got severe weather going on for the next few days. And as we push off into Independence Day, we can see that really much of the country is going to be pretty soggy. Could be getting rained out, so looks like some barbecue plans could get ruined, unfortunately. As we push off into the 8 o'clock hour, we can see that more heavy precipitation is going to be in store from Montana down into the southeast. Now, I did create a graphic showing y'all the probabilities of seeing and setting off fireworks out west. I'm giving y'all a 96% chance, pretty good odds of seeing and setting off fireworks. Of course, out east, Mother Nature is going to be having its own fireworks, so I'm giving y'all a pretty generous 5% chance of seeing and setting off fireworks. But don't let this deter you from celebrating the country's independence. And please don't be the person blowing up their fingers or their hands or anything. I don't want to see anybody on the news getting blown up by fireworks. And pretty much don't be like this guy. This is stupid. Funny, but stupid. Don't be like this guy and don't get blown up by fireworks. Use your common sense. I know it's not common nowadays, but please use your common sense this Independence Day and get out and celebrate this country's independence. So now that we know the probabilities of seeing and setting off fireworks, we know that much of the country is going to be pretty darn soggy, and some barbecue plans are going to get ruined, unfortunately. So we get past Independence Day, we can see that really much of the eastern half of the country is just going to be dealing with non-stop showers and thunderstorms. And then we're going to start to dry out as we head into the middle parts of the month. We're going to be dealing with some more showers and thunderstorms. And it's looking like out west it's just going to be pretty darn dry. But as we take a look at the drought map, we can see that much of the country is pretty darn dry, and it's looking like we're going to get a relief from the drought-like conditions out east. And it's looking like down in the southwest, drought-like conditions are going to start to worsen, although we do have Hurricane Beryl, which we'll get into here in a little bit. As we take a look at the next 6 to 10 days as far as precipitation goes, by the Climate Prediction Center, we can see the southeastern half of the country is going to be above average, while the northwest is going to be below average. In the next 8 to 14 days, it looks like we are going to get some drought relief down here in the southwest, but not up here in the northwest. Looking like much of the country is going to be near normal to above average, which is unfortunately going to result in rainy Independence Day. Now than precipitation, let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of temperatures we could be coming in on here on Independence Day. We know we have been sort of cool out here amongst the eastern part of the country, but still hot for this time of year, and it's looking like we're going to be still dealing with some really hot temperatures as we head into Independence Day. As we head into the afternoon hours of Independence Day, y'all are heading out to those cookouts. It's looking like it's going to be pretty toasty down here in Oklahoma. Pretty cool up here by Wyoming and Idaho, but really much of the country is going to be pretty hot. And as we head into the 8 o'clock hour, we can see that really much of the country is going to be pretty toasty. And as we head past Independence Day, looking like the western part of the country is going to start to cool off, although really much of the country is going to be feeling this major heat wave as we head further and further into July. As we take a look at the next 6 to 10 days as far as the temperatures go, by the Climate Prediction Center, they're saying that much of the central part of the country is going to be a little bit below average. Could mean some cooler temperatures could be in store here in the near term, while really the rest of the country is going to be well above average. Next 8 to 14 days, like I said earlier, much of the country is going to be feeling this drastic heat wave, as this heat wave is going to be continuing towards the end of July. So now that we know we're going to be dealing with some pretty extreme heat in the long term and a little bit of a cool down here in the short term, let's go and take a look at Hurricane Beryl, as that is currently a Cat 5 hurricane with winds of 160 mile an hour, max gust of 200, low pressure of 938 millibars, moving west-northwest. And it's looking like tomorrow it's going to weaken down into a Cat 4 before turning into a Cat 3 as it turns into Jamaica, then weakening down as it hits Central America and into Mexico. And as we take a look at the weather models to determine where it's going to go, some models have been indicating that's going to make a northern turn into America. And as we take a look at the Euro, of course, we're pretty confident that it's going to be hitting Jamaica and the Caribbean islands. So we head into July 4th, hitting Central America. But then once it gets here into the Gulf, it's very uncertain. It could be making a western turn or a northern turn. According to the Euro, it's going to be hitting Mexico and causing a lot of problems, and it's going to be giving some drought relief to much of the southwest. And as we take a look at the National Hurricane Center, they are showing us that it's a pretty wide range of areas that could impact. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty powerful hurricane as it moves across the Caribbean, heavy rainfall over by Jamaica. But regardless, it's going to be causing a lot of storm surge over by the coastal states. Please be aware of this. And why we are saying that it could possibly make a northern turn is because of something we call the 500 millibar height anomaly. The blues the trough and the reds the ridge. As we can see, we're going to have a major ridge as it starts to move closer towards the homeland, and then it's going to start to turn into a trough as it gets closer and closer, and this could drag it further towards the north. So it's definitely something to watch, and I will be posting more about this on X and on Facebook, so go follow those pages as I will keep y'all informed on there. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's weather forecast. If you did, make sure you hit that like and share button so more folks are informed about the weather. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and bell notifications turned on so you never miss an upload, because here at Wednesday Weather, we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. And also leave us some feedback in the comment section down below, as feedback helps provide either of your better and more informative content in the future. And don't forget to get out and celebrate the country's independence, although some areas are going to be getting in on very soggy conditions as Mother Nature is going to be bringing its own fireworks this Independence Day. But don't let that deter you from celebrating our country's independence, like I said earlier. And please be careful if you're going to be setting off fireworks as well. Don't be blowing yourself up. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate everybody for watching. Until next time, never stop forecasting.